Hey my lovely friends, welcome to Creative Art. I am Nilima, and in today's tutorial we are going to make this beautiful rose sculpture painting with the theme of Valentine. This painting is specially dedicated to all my viewers with all my love, in which I'm going to show you 3 different phases of a rose. From the starting phase, a small bud, then a half blooming rose, and then finally this beautiful giant red rose. So friends, do watch the complete tutorial to make this beautiful rose sculpture painting for yourself or for your loved ones. And do subscribe to Creative Art for more creative art tutorial, and do press the bell icon so you don't miss any updates on a recent art form. Now let's check out all the materials we are going to need to make this beautiful rose sculpture painting. First of all, we are going to need sculpture paste and palette knife. For sculpture paste, I like to use Little Birdie sculpture paste, and this time we are going to use 2 to 3 different colors. The first one is seaweed, which is green color for leaves, red velvet for flower, and rose blush in case you want to make these beautiful flowers with shading. So these are the 3 colors you're going to need for this painting. Next, I'm going to use palette knife number 10 from Mount Martha. Just one palette knife would be enough for making these beautiful rose, bud, as well as the leaves. For base, here I'm using a heart shape MDF cutout piece, and this is how it looks. Its thickness is about 5 mm. Next, for priming and coloring my base, I have used Pink Skrill multi-surface paint from Little Birdie. For stencil, there's so many different options available that you can choose from. Here I have got a brick design stencil, but there are more different designs that you can go for. To get this beautiful crackling texture, here I have used Crackling Paste from Little Birdie, and this is the best crackle paste that is available in market. Next, for the side borders and coloring, I have used gold alcohol splash, and with that I have also used paintbrush to fill up on the sides. So these are the 2 paintbrush. And finally friends, I'm going to do a little touch up with All My Love primed chipboard. Here I have colored it golden, but you can also use the same pre-primed chipboard. List of all these materials will be linked and listed in the description box below, from where you can buy them online. And friends, if you use my code, which is Nilima5, Nilima 5, you will get an additional 5% off on your entire purchase from Itsy Bitsy. Now let's start the tutorial, friends. Now first of all, let's start by priming our base using the Misty Rose chalk acrylic paint from Little Birdie, and using a flat hair brush, start priming our base in this way. After preparing the base, I have let it get dry for at least 24 hours, and now I'm going to use a Crackling Paste from Little Birdie. This is how the crackles will form after using this Crackling Paste. Open the seal and take this creamy smoothie paste, gently spread it on the surface you want it to be. The thinner the layer, the smaller cracks we will get, and the thicker the layer, the bigger cracks we can expect. After applying the crackle paste, we have to let it get dry and get crack naturally. So without using any heat gun or any hair dryer or any heating process, we will let it get dry completely till we get to see some beautiful cracks. Now it's finally been 24 hours, and this is so beautiful all our cracks look. Just take a peek look. The thicker the paste, the bigger the crack, and the thinner the paste, the smaller the cracks we are going to get using the crackle paste from Little Birdie. Now we got the crackles ready. So let's start the sculpture painting using sculpture paste from Little Birdie. Little Birdie have so many different shades of sculpture paste that you will be wowed that you don't need to prepare a new one. So these are all the shades of different sculpture paste I'm going to use while using a stencil and for making leaves. Here are different designs of stencil that we can use for this painting. This is a lighting stencil that I have also used during New Year. This is a very beautiful background stencil that I love to use, and this is the most commonly used stencil, that is a background brick style, and this was used quite many times. Other than that, I have also got 3 to 4 different flowering stencil, but as you can see, according to my base, these are not going to fit this time. We can use this one or we can use this one, but for this one what I'm going to use is this stencil that I recently got. As you can see, it has just got a perfect curving and the angle that we need for this base, which is a heart-shaped base. It looks so perfect. It fits perfectly according to the size, and that's the reason I'm going to try out my new stencil. So here is the color palette of sculpture paste that I have pre-mixed and prepared, and these are all the small size of palette knives that I have in my collection. So one by one, let's start using them. First, I'm going to use white, and I definitely have to hold the stencil so it will be in place. I'm going to use the white sculpture paste in all these parts of small buds type. Next, I'm going to use the yellow one. Next, I'm going to use fresh green. After placing all the different shades of sculpture paste, now it's finally the time to pick up our stencil. So be gentle, and this is how beautiful it looks. I'm just going to do one layer of stencil. It already looks so beautiful. We don't have to do any second or third layer because this itself looks so pretty, clean, clear and beautiful. So now friends, let's start making a beautiful flower using a red velvet sculpture paste from Little Birdie. Let's open the pack. This is how the box looks. The paste is so smooth and creamy. It's absolutely ready for the use. Let's spread it on both the sides. Clean my palette knife. Here I'm going to use a palette knife number 10 from Mount Martha. Start scraping the sculpture paste from one side of the palette knife in this way. So this is the first petal that we have got. Let's place it right here. Clean your palette knife using a cloth and then start scraping from the other side of the palette knife in this way. This is our second petal. Let's place it right here. In the same way, we are going to make more petals. Take only the amount of sculpture paste that you're going to need at a time, okay? Now I'm going to mix a little bit of white with red, get a lighter shade. Now let's place few leaves that I have pre-made for the rose base. I'm placing the final pieces of rose petals. And finally, this is how beautiful our rose looks. In the end, I thought to add one final petal right here because it was looking a little empty, and I also made few fillings in this part. So the rose looks right to its shape, and then we placed a few leaves. So now friends, I'm going to use the ceramic cones and draw out few stems using these cones, and then I'm going to show you how I made all these leaves and how to make small leaves, half bloom flower, and also a rose bud. Using the scissor, cut the end of the cone in this way, and using the cone, draw the stem line how you want. That's it. I'm going to cut cone a little bit more to get a thicker line. Now after making the stem, I'm going to use two different colors of sculpture paste. The first is seaweed sculpture paste from Little Birdie, and the other is a little bit lighter shade than this one. Let's open it, and this is how the color looks. Using a palette knife, scoop out the required amount and then spread it on your base in this way. You can just dip your palette knife in water just a little bit to get a smoother surface like this. And then I'm going to use a little bit of light green. Now I'm going to use palette knife number 10 from Mount Martha, and there is one more similar palette knife from Bruce Joe number 3012. So let's first of all start by the first technique. So start scraping some sculpture paste from one side in this way. For this technique, we have to wait for the excess to be collected on this part. Once we get some excess, scrape it off to get this nice and clean edge. We have to get this kind of volume on the back side of this palette knife, and then place it in this way and gently drag away the palette knife. So to make this leaf in one stroke can be a little difficult for beginners. Now after collecting the leaf together, this is how tiny and small it will look. So this is called one stroke leaf. You get a small size, but a very neat pickup gives it a very nice shape. So because of this small shape, you can place it under this big rose, the bottom part. For decoration, when the rose is inverted, you can place this small leaf. Like we can place it in these kind of small filling parts. It looks very good. So I'm going to keep this small leaf aside, and we're going to place all of them together one by one. In the same way, we can make one stroke leaf using this knife. So now friends, let me show you how to make a dual stroke leaf. From one side, start collecting sculpture paste in this way. Wait till you get an excess on this side, and then give it a nice and clean stroke so you get a very clean edge. And then I'm going to place it right here. Clean your palette knife and then start collecting sculpture paste from the other side. And then give a nice clean stroke. Now these are the two pieces that we need to collect one by one. So pick up one piece and then place it beside the other. And then using a clean palette knife, pick up the petal we have made. And this is how beautiful it looks. It's absolutely ready to be placed on our base. So now friends, in the same way, I'm going to make more. Now let's start placing all the leaves that we have made. So I'm going to place one right here. Now let's start making a half blue rose bud. After making the half bloom flower, we have to place few small leaves from the bottom. But before that, let's complete and make a small bud right here. Now I'm placing these small leaves. I have kept it to dry for overnight, and then I did a little bit of boundary painting using the green color from Gold Alcohol Splash. This is a spray color, but I did use a paintbrush, so all the green can go in deep of these cracks to create this beautiful effect. And then I also did a little bit of gold on the boundary along with a little bit of edge on all the sides so that the shape of the base looks more clear and a little bit of glowing. So now friends, I'm going to add my final touch up by using a prime chipboard which says "with all my love." It did come in white color as base, so I did a little bit of gold, the same gold that I use on the surrounding to match our theme. And I'm going to place it exactly here. Okay, so let's use some glue. Make few dots using glue. Place it exactly where you want it to be, and then gently tap 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 and press. And now finally friends, this is how beautiful our sculpture painting of roses looks. In this tutorial I have taught you 3 different phases of roses, starting with a bud, a full bloom rose and a half bloom rose. So friends, do give it a try, make it yourself, and do tell me in the comments below what do you think about this tutorial. And if you do like my tutorials friends, please do like, share and subscribe my channel. Thank you for watching.